Hey guys, for our lesson today, we are going to be looking at Everyday Math Lesson 3.2, and it is Estimating Costs Day 1. So today we are going to be looking at trying to solve a problem, and then after you submit it to me, we'll use those pages to talk about it when we meet in our groups for virtual math groups. So we have a few assignments. One of them is to watch the video lesson. Then you will complete an online assignment where you are estimating costs. Next, you will work on a rounding money page. And then finally, you're going to watch a brain pop rounding video. So our goal for today is I can estimate the cost of objects and explain my reasoning. So we're going to be looking at estimating, but then the big piece of today is looking at explaining the reasoning or why we did it. Turn in your math book to page 67, and I want you to follow along as we're looking at this page. And I want you guys writing some notes down on this page as I'm going through this. So it says, Rosa makes an estimate for the addition problem below. She uses the numbers that are close to the numbers in the problem, but easier to use. So her problem is 422. Her problem is 322 plus 487 equals, and she wanted to make an estimate, so she used the numbers 320 is close to 322, and 490 is close to 487. So when she added those two together, she got 810. So number 1 says, explain Rosa's thinking to a partner. Number 2 says, write a different estimate. What close but easier numbers could you use? Write a number sentence in the thought bubble to show your thinking. So our close but easier to use numbers are going to be the ones that end in 0. So for this problem, Rosa rounded to the nearest tens place. We can also round to the nearest hundreds place. So I first need to explain what Rosa did. And I walked through it and I was talking to you as I was explaining it. And now I just need to put it into complete sentences. I'm actually going to do the typing because it's a little bit easier than trying to write on my screen using my pencil. So I'm going to type it into the page so that you can see my thinking. This is my reasoning. This is why she did this. That's a big piece of what we have to do today, is to explain our thinking. So as I'm looking at this, one of the things that I said is that she rounded, or she found that 320 is close to 322. So I'm going to make a text box and I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see a little bit better. And I want to be able to see those numbers up there. So I'm going to say first, Rosa looked at the number 322 and decided that it was close to 320. And it's not enough just to say that that's what she did. I have to understand why. So I know that what Rosa did was she looked at the tens place and she rounded to the tens place. So when she looked at this 2 in the tens place, it's less than, she looks to the ones place, it's less than 5. So she kept it the same. Or if you think about looking at our number line, our numbers would be 320 or 330 on the other side. Right in the middle would be 325. 322 is on the left, so it's closer to 320. So I'm going to explain that by saying Rosa Oh, stop going in. Let's go out one more. Okay, so Rosa rounded to the nearest tens place. Okay, then I'm going to say next, she looked at the number, go back up, 487, and decided it was close to 490. I'm going to say add a comma. She rounded to the nearest tens place. And then finally, she added her two close but easier to use numbers, and 320 plus 490 equals 810. Okay, so that was the first part of solving this problem. I am not quite done with this piece. I need to look at what is another way to find that answer. So, all right, so we're going to look at what's another way that she could round. So rather than rounding to the nearest tens place, we're going to look at rounding to the nearest hundreds place. So I'm going to look at what number this is in the hundreds place, and I could use this 3. If I were to think about it on a number line, I would have 300 to 400. So 322 is either going to be 300 or 400. I just look at the number that is in the hundreds place and I keep it, and then I add one more. So it's either 300 or 400. Right in the middle would be 350. So everything to the left of 350 or before 350 is going to stay at 300. Everything to the right of 350 or greater than 350 is going to be 400. So 322 is closer to 300. So I'm going to use 300 as one of my numbers here. Then when I look at 487, I am going to have my options be either 400 or 500 on the other side. So when I think about 400, in the middle is going to be 450 and then 500. So 450 is my middle point. And I know that 487 is greater than 450, so it's going to be closer to 500. So my estimate is going to be 300 plus 500 equals 800, which is pretty close to 810. So my answer should be pretty close to that answer. Both estimates are reasonable. The close but easier number you choose depends on how you add in your head and how close you want the estimates to be. If we round to the nearest 10, it's going to be closer to the answer, but maybe rounding to the nearest hundreds is a little bit easier for you. It's up to you which one you pick. Using the tens will be closer to the actual answer. Okay, for today, I want you to put your pencil away, and you're going to be working on this page. I want you to pretend that you're walking home from school with Anne, and you don't have a pencil, you don't have a calculator. And you're going to try to help Anne and figure out, do we need an exact answer? How can you use your estimating to decide whether Anne's answer is reasonable? So looking at this page, you and her friend are walking home from school. Anne shows her friend this homework problem and her answer. So the problem says The art club has $100 to spend on materials. They bought watercolor paints for $38 and brushes for $19. The answer, how much she said she has left over, she said is $67. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be thinking in your head. Suppose that you're Anne's friend and you don't have a pencil, you don't have a calculator. In your head, you're going to make an estimate of how much money the club has left over. You're going to write your answer on the next page. So we're thinking about, how can I get a close number to 38? How can I get a close number to 19? Once I know those two numbers, we have to put them together. And then it's asking, how much money does the club have left over? So left over is what they're going to have when they spend their money. So once you decide how much they have left over, you're going to write your estimate on line 2. You're going to use your estimate to decide whether Anne's answer is reasonable. And you're going to write your answer, yes or no. Is Anne's answer reasonable? Yes or no. And then show your thinking and how you used an estimate in the thought bubble. So this is where you're going to be explaining yourself, and you're going to be describing what you did. How did you round? What steps did you take when you added and then subtracted?
Motion detected at the front door.